The Ship of Fools, Episode 56, Invasion of the Button Snatchers. The Scream. The Shadow Quest drifted through a quiet star lane, engines humming with a low, contented purr. The lights were dimmed to a warm amber glow, the kind of lighting that made even Moxie relax, and Snipes stop pacing for a few minutes. Then Snipes screamed. The sound ripped through the corridor like a plasma torch through sheet metal. Banning burst out of his quarters, half-dressed, hair sticking up. "What happened? Are we under attack?" Snipes came sprinting toward him, waving a shirt overhead like a flag of surrender. "The button!" he wailed. "The button is gone!" Moxie leaned out of the mess hall doorway, holding a mug of coffee. "What button?" Snipes thrust the shirt at her. "The vintage 23rd century brass-plated starburst button. The one that completes the ensemble. The one that gives the jacket its resale value." Moxie blinked. "Someone stole a button?" "No," Snipes cried. "Someone ate it. There are tiny chew marks all around the buttonhole." Banning stared. "Why would anyone eat a button?" Snipes clutched the shirt to his chest. "That's what I intend to find out." Snipes transformed the hallway outside his locker into a paranoid gauntlet. Motion sensors, pressure plates, a glitter bucket tripwire, a holographic decoy of himself sobbing over a missing button, a laser grid that served no purpose except to make him feel better. Moxie stepped over a tripwire. "You know this is how people get court-martialed or committed to an asylum." Snipes adjusted a camera. "This is how justice is served." Aurora flickered beside them. "Your traps have a 0% chance of catching the culprit." Snipes gasped. "How do you know?" "Because the culprit has already bypassed them." Aurora projected a hologram of Snipes' locker. Another shirt was missing a button. Snipes collapsed. "Not the Paisley one." The next 48 hours were a slow descent into madness. Buttons continued disappearing. Not all at once, one at a time, always at night, always from different shirts, enough to keep Snipes awake, pacing, muttering, checking his locker every 10 minutes. The ship's atmosphere shifted with him. Lights flickered. Doors hissed open a beat too slowly. The hum of the engine seemed off. Even Moxie felt it. "This ship feels haunted," she muttered. Snipes nodded gravely. "By a fashion-based poltergeist." Banning rubbed his temples. "There is no such thing." Snipes pointed at his locker. "Then explain this." Another button was gone. Banning stared. "Okay, that's weird." Aurora added, "The pattern suggests an intelligent entity with a preference for brass alloys." Snipes gasped. "A brass button-eating ghost!" "No," Aurora said. "A creature." Snipes froze. "A creature? On the ship? Eating my buttons?" Moxie smirked. "Well, it's not eating my stuff." Snipes glared. "You don't own anything worth eating." Snipes escalated. He installed surveillance drones, thermal sensors, acoustic monitors, a motion-activated recording of him shouting, "Step away from the buttons." Hours passed. Nothing. No thief, no intruder, no suspicious movement. Just Snipes pacing like a man awaiting a medical diagnosis. Moxie finally said, "Maybe it's not a who. Maybe it's a what." Snipes froze. "What do you mean?" She pointed at the 2 small rocks sitting on his shelf, souvenirs from their last shore leave. Snipes scoffed. "Those are rocks, Moxie. Rocks don't eat buttons." Aurora flickered. "Correction, those are not rocks." Snipes blinked. "What?" Aurora projected a scan. The rocks pulsed faintly with internal energy signatures. "They are a mated pair of lithavores," Aurora explained, "a silicon-based species that consumes metal, including buttons." Snipes stared at them in horror. "Rocks ate my buttons?" One of the rocks vibrated. The other burped. Snipes screamed. Moxie laughed so hard she had to lean against the wall. Aurora added, "They are also expecting a brood." Snipes' jaw dropped. "They're going to have babies?" "Yes," Aurora said. "Approximately 36 of them." Snipes fainted. When Snipes came to, he found the crew gathered around the rocks, who were now gently vibrating in a rhythmic pattern. Banning crossed his arms. "We can't keep them aboard. They'll eat through half the ship." Moxie added, "And Snipes will have a nervous breakdown." Snipes sat up. "I'm already having one." Aurora projected a star map. "Their homeworld is within 2 days' travel. It is the optimal environment for their brood." Snipes sighed dramatically. "Fine, we'll take them home. But I want compensation for the buttons." Moxie smirked. "From who? The Pebble Union?" The Shadow Quest changed course. Snipes spent the trip sitting protectively in front of his locker, guarding the remaining buttons like a dragon hoarding treasure. The lithavores occasionally rolled across the floor, nibbling harmlessly on spare bolts Snipes provided as a peace offering. Moxie teased, "You're feeding them now?" Snipes grumbled, "Better bolts than my wardrobe." Aurora added, "They appear to like you." Snipes recoiled. "Don't say that." The lithavores' homeworld was a shimmering desert of crystalline formations and metallic dunes. The crew transported the pair to a rocky outcrop where dozens of similar creatures basked in the sun. The two pebbles rolled forward, chirping softly. Their family chirped back. Snipes wiped a tear. "It's beautiful." Moxie nudged him. "You're crying over rocks." "They're not rocks," Snipes said. "They're button-eating monsters." "But they're my button-eating monsters." The lithavores chirped again, a farewell. Snipes waved. "Goodbye. Please don't eat any more of my stuff." Back aboard the Shadow Quest, Snipes marched straight to the comms alcove. "I'm filing an insurance claim," he declared. Banning sighed. "Oh, no." Snipes opened the fleet insurance portal. "Please describe loss in 50 words or less." He dictated, "Loss of historically significant, irreplaceable vintage garment fasteners due to unsanctioned interaction with unregistered button-eating alien pebble life forms, resulting in catastrophic wardrobe devaluation and emotional trauma." Aurora said, 7 words remaining." Snipes added, "Also, I cried a lot." He submitted the claim. The portal processed. "Suggested compensation. 1 standard-issue fleet utility jumpsuit." Snipes stared. "A jumpsuit," he whispered. "They're offering me a jumpsuit." Moxie burst out laughing. Banning clapped him on the shoulder. "Look at it this way. At least a jumpsuit doesn't have buttons." Snipes glared. "This is the darkest timeline." He declined the jumpsuit. Epilogue: The Goodbye Button. Later, Snipes opened his locker. A single button sat on the shelf. Perfectly intact. Moxie peeked in. "What's that?" Snipes picked it up reverently. "A gift." Aurora flickered. "The lithavores left it behind. A token of gratitude." Snipes smiled softly. "Maybe they weren't so bad." Moxie smirked. "You're still replacing all your shirts, aren't you?" Snipes clutched the button. "Absolutely." The Shadow Quest sailed on. 1 button richer, several shirts poorer, and now officially too proud to accept a jumpsuit. End of episode 56, to be continued.